So, anybody here who's had a second generation 1990 to 1977 Lincoln Town Car before has probably experienced the ashtrays that like to just flop open. These ones work. This is how they're supposed to operate. Well, this is what happens to them typically. So, you can see just pops open, and you can see the problem. You can see that there's a spring that puts tension on this. You can see it mounts to the base plate here, and then it mounts to the lid on these tabs here. And you can see what happens is that it either breaks like that at the end, or the whole piece just falls off. So a fix for this that I commonly see is to just, I say fix in quotation marks because it's not really a fix, is to just glue this shut permanently. And that's not really my favorite approach to this, because now you just have an ashtray that doesn't work. So I tend to just hoard these whenever I see them, because they can be a little hard to find. But what I like to do is, you can see this one's actually good. This is how it should look. It's starting to crack there, but this is a good one. So what I like to do, and I'll show you, is basically I just get a really tiny drill bit and I just drill that hole back into this and then mount the spring elsewhere. So what you're going to need for this, that you're just going to need a really tiny drill bit. It'll be hard sometimes. There's one. There's another. So you can see there, got our holes drilled. Go ahead and pop this back in. Try doing this way. There we go. That got it. So, as you can see now, our ashtray is now nice and functional. It's a little, I would say it's a little, the spring tension is because you have, given the fact that the original mounting area has been, destroyed. The spring is stretched a little more now than it would have been, so there's a little bit more tension to it, but nothing, I wouldn't say it's at all offensive. And you can still do it with one finger, no problem. And I mean, tension just means it's going to stay shut better, so. Now, if the nub on the bottom here were to break, then you'd just kind of be screwed. But I've never actually seen that happen before, so I think it'd be fine. Almost typically typically all of the cases I've seen, it was the part on the lid that breaks. So that's all there is to it. You can see those are some old 97 window switches I found. I actually converted this car to have the 96 and 95 styles with the rear cigarette lighter. That was decontented for 1997, and I believe some late build 96s were as well. It's interesting on these because it wasn't quite clean cut in terms of the decontenting. Oftentimes, a lot of it came about in late 96. For example, I've seen 1996, many 1996s that don't have the cloth here. I actually don't mind it on this car because I know on the 80s models, if you had the leather upholstery, then you'd have a vinyl insert on the door panel. And honestly, I always thought it was kind of weird how on the 90s models, even if you had leather, you got cloth here. So with this car, I think it is fine. But another thing that was decontented on 97s, this is something, well, 96 is something nobody ever really notices, is see how this here, the same color. This is off of this would have been red, it's off a different car. Well, on 95s only, you got a nice little chrome linking of them. See the separate piece. Something also specific to 95s is that this whole piece is actually rubberized. It's not just painted plastic. So it feels nice. 96s and 97s, it's all just a one-piece molded plastic. Here's the original one from this car. See, I tried gluing it back together. That was unsuccessful. Both of the little studs are broken off too, so yeah, this thing had to go. 90, all of them have, you can see, there's this little LED on the bottom of this that illuminates your switch panel at night. 95s have that on the rear as well. 96 and 97s do not. This is actually off of the back door of a 96. So I don't even get the lighted front one now. I don't really mind too much. I kind of just memorize where these are. I mean, the light doesn't really do much anyways, to be honest. They're still kind of hard to see. I would have preferred if they did it like the 98 to 02s where there's illumination underneath the switch, but whatever.